Hello, my name is Todd Haggerty with the Fiscal Affairs Program at the National Conference of State Legislatures. I'm going to go over a few highlights from our most recent fiscal brief, projected tax growth in fiscal year 2013. Overall, the revenue situation continues to improve, albeit at a leisurely pace. Fiscal year 13 marks the third consecutive year that most state officials are forecasting state tax growth compared with the previous year. Despite this positive development, the robust return of state revenue collections that typified previous economic recoveries remains elusive. Looking first at total state tax collections, which is based on the performance of combined individual categories, we see that 9 states expect collections to grow by at least 5% in fiscal year 2012. It's important to note, however, that the increase of 10% in California is subject to the passage of a couple of ballot measures that will result in up to $10 billion in new revenues. 36 states in the District of Columbia expect collections to grow between 1% and 4.8%. Texas and Wyoming expect collections to be essentially flat, and 2 states, Alaska and Kansas, anticipate declines in fiscal year 13 compared with the previous year. In Alaska, that is due to the falling price of oil, and in Kansas is because of enacted tax changes. Now, looking at individual categories, we'll start here with the personal income tax, which on average accounts for about 34% of total state tax collections. Here you see 14 states project personal income tax collections will rise by at least 5% in fiscal year 2013, with California leading the way of growth of 14%. Again, this is subject to the passage of a ballot measure. 24 states expect personal income tax collections to rise between 2%. Officials in Maine anticipate essentially flat growth, and Kansas, as I noted, with the enacted tax change lowering the personal income tax, anticipates a decline along with the District of Columbia. Next, looking at the sales tax forecast for fiscal year 2013, which is about 31% of total state tax collections, we see that 6 states are forecasting growth of 5% or more. 34 states in the District of Columbia expect collections to rise between 1.9% and 4.9%. Collections are expected to be basically flat in Colorado, Texas, and Wyoming, while only West Virginia anticipates a decline in collections of more than 1%. For most states, corporate income tax collections represent a much smaller share of revenues than other sources, on average about 6% of the total. However, a couple of states do rely more heavily on this category. Looking at fiscal year 13 projections, we see that 19 states anticipate growth of at least 5%, with 8 of these anticipating double-digit growth. 14 states in the District of Columbia expect collections to rise between 1% and 5%. Officials in Mississippi project flat growth, while 7 states anticipate collections declining in fiscal year 13 compared with the previous year. In addition to personal income, sales, and corporate income taxes, states also rely on various other revenue sources, including the severance tax. 9 states project severance taxes performing above 2012 levels. 3 anticipate essentially flat collections, and 6 expect severance tax collections below the prior year. Several officials commented that recent tax changes are the reason for the projected decline in severance tax collections. Some states levy a real estate transfer tax, a relatively small share of the total tax mix, but an important indicator of the housing market. 15 states expect this tax to grow in fiscal year 13, 5 anticipate essentially flat growth, and 1 state, Minnesota, expects a decline. Additionally, states reported that cigarette, insurance, and inheritance taxes are projected to grow, while motor vehicle and riverboat wagering taxes are expected to decline in fiscal year 13. While states rely on a variety of taxes, there is a common theme: slow and modest growth. You can look for an update on state fiscal conditions in our upcoming State Budget Update Fall 2012 report, and you can always check NCSL's homepage for the latest state policy news. Thank you.